What exactly is the plover? All right, so we are combining the power of order flow plus a harmonic structure. All right, so two components we're going to need for this. The harmonic structure, predictive. Now, if you're not familiar with the harmonic structures that we post, we are showing you the end result of a harmonic before it reaches that location. That is what you're seeing right here. If you see a yellow box on the screen, that means this is a location where a harmonic is going to complete. Okay, so not to be confused with an actual harmonic that is already formed. We are looking at a location that has not formed yet. We are going to assume that we are going to complete out a harmonic structure. A little bit different, you know, traditionally a harmonic structure is going to be used for the PRZ. The PRZ inside of a harmonic structure is the potential reversal zone. In a live example, this is going to be a cipher completion. I can see that we've got two crossover points there on this, and this can happen. This is two PRZ locations, which makes this even a more attractive zone for price to go into. We kind of assume this is like a magnet sucking price right into it. More of a scalping strategy because of the distance between the entry point and the target. So what we're using here is the harmonic structure predictive zone for the targets. Here's how it works. You need an entry on the FLOWMASTER order flow cross right there. Now, this is the white cross being your entry point, and the target being the predictive harmonic PRZ. Very, very simple. We are executing entry right here. We are targeting right here, hence the scalp, right? Between this and this, we are trying to enter as quickly and as close to the middle of that cross as we possibly can. Bullseye in the center, you know, using that like a crosshair on a reticle, and we're talking about gaming all the time. The target on that right here. If we're getting into the back of the box, this can be around 10 ticks. Now, this one, it depends. Some people say 10 ticks is a scalp, some people don't, right? For us in general, again, this could be any distance, okay? It doesn't matter. This could be 5 ticks away, 6, 8, 10, 12. We've had some that are larger. I'm gonna show you guys some examples of that. But the primary understanding is that you've got the distance between a cross and a PRZ. Other prerequisites that we want on every one of these, okay, you need a straight leg to take that plover entry. In this case, the straight leg is this right here. Okay, let me do this in blue and hold the shift so we get a nice straight line. I don't want to see da 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 da, and then across, and then a box. Okay, this is not a plover. Okay? Not a plover. Why? This straight leg is the key, a distribution leg coming. Okay, and we want to finish out a distribution leg. Now, if it's choppy prior, chop, boom, straight leg, we're good. This is a valid one right here. If I'm going to have my shift button, here we go. Okay, and then we've got our PRZ target, great. Okay, the primary thing is that we've got this nice straight leg here that we're working off of, and then boom, we got this order flow volume spike coming in that's going to help us to get right into that PRZ. Let's talk about markets that this works best on. Okay, in our case, we have the NASDAQ, right? The big one for us is NQ. NQ is the #1 instrument that we're going to be looking for a plover on. This is going to move fast, move quickly, and we want to see that burst and move, pow pow, take your money, hit very quickly in and out on this type of style. Ones that might have a little bit more difficulty on would be like the ES. Now the ES is a bit slower. You're also going to have a hard time on the Zs, ZBs. If you're trading Forex against Snorex, these are not going to show up as often. Now, if they show up, take them. By all means, take them. But they are very, very rare on slower markets. However, other exceptions to that are, what happens when we have a high VIX? In low VIX markets, this is going to be a little bit more difficult to find this setup. Here's what it looks like in motion. Let's see if I can zoom in a little bit more on this. Right, thing shows up. you should see this be gold, and then when we hit, it turns red. Now, I want my stop at the bottom of the cross. It's as simple as that. So if this trade ends up, boom, we're getting in right here. We're trying to get long. Where's my stop? I've got a stop. Let's do it in red here. Right there. Very small stop. Okay. All right, let's see some other live examples on this. If you are wanting to come back and find these later in our room, head on over here to the left-hand side menu. You go into the education section, and right there you'll see the strat plover. Again, all of our strats are listed over there on the left inside of our Discord channel. So nice one right there. That is from CG. Got a nice little entry right there. You know, he didn't move his stop up. Again, the default stop right there. These go so fast. Oftentimes, you don't even have time to move your stop. That's another thing about this nice little scalp strategy. Is it's going to be quick, and sometimes you don't have time. Look, here's another one. Okay. When I enter in on this, looks like this is a default, probably 25 tick stop by default. My stop underneath this cross should be right here, okay? So when we enter into this trade, I am entering in quickly, but if the trade starts to break down and we break past here, what am I doing? Right, we're punching the close button. Okay, get very familiar with that close button. We learn how to lose well in our middle 40 days. Again, our training program is 120 days. First 40 days you're watching videos. Middle 40 days we are executing in sim with market replay as our primaries. And you need to learn how to use that close button. Losing well is a very key skill. So I'm closing out right there underneath that cross. If it doesn't work, just bail on it, okay? I will show you some examples where it did not work. That's always important to know. Now you'll notice, where did I put my target on this? I put it all the way up here into the middle. It really does not matter where you end up taking this. You could hold this all the way up and through, but if you're gonna do that up to the top, I usually recommend still taking your target one out the front of this box. You ought to pull off some right here, some at each one of these levels inside of the PRZ. If you want to get clever with it and try to turn this into more than a scalp and try to ride a position longer, especially if you have things like the audio box firing off telling you that you've got a great run going on right there due to the audio coming in, the aggressiveness of the buyers and sellers on the tape, then you may want to hold that position out. In my case right here, it looks like I'm on this trade particularly, I was hitting this kind of in the middle ish, and it looks like we went basically straight to it. Here's a bigger one. I called this a big plover. Yes, we had a PRZ down there, so you can, but if the thing doesn't work, just again, bail out. What's the beautiful thing about these setups is that they're so powerful and they're so easy to see, you know, in such a small amount of risk. It's really a good, you know, good setup. But there's an example of a big one. That one. Okay, here's a plover that didn't work. Okay, so we had a nice straight leg down. Boom, we had the cross, right? I'm targeting this PRZ, but this one came up right there, right? So where's my stop? Right there, right? So there's one that didn't work. They're not perfect. Okay, let's see if we got any others. This is out of range, but the line could cross. Okay, so another one where somebody had said, hey, this looks like a plover. Okay, be careful of, you know, once you're a plover trader, be careful. You don't want to see plovers everywhere. We're looking for that scalp trade for these, getting that finisher. But somebody had called this out and said, hey, you know, is this a valid one? And I said, really, that's out of range. And by out of range, I mean that's a pretty good distance to try to take that far. That's not going to happen very often, but you'll have to learn those as you try to execute on these. Okay, plover trade. Okay, so this is a nice one. We had this, it's a little bit weird and tricky, but we had a nice straight leg in front of it. Boom, we see this cross, a little bit of a unique one right here. I probably did not hold this all the way up to the top. I'm still gonna probably take this off at about 10 ticks or so. But again, a nice one where I've got the very, very evident straight leg, white cross, and I had a PRZ prior to this. See ya.